Greetings and welcome back to another supporter stream. And come think of it, I do not know if I actually fixed the title banner. I might have, but oh yes, I did. I did fix the title banner. There we are. How's it going, Ivan?
Oh, not too bad.
All right.
Nights are nice and cool. Days are nice and warm right now, so no complaints.
There you go. Yeah, it is getting nice out there. It's getting to that point where I'm almost like I might want to turn on the heater. In fact, I probably should, just to test it, make sure it works. I don't want to be like, hey, let's leave on my trip and not have a heater, except I'm going to Florida this year. So I don't know if I'm going to need it a lot, to be honest. It depends
Probably
on where
not.
I'm at. But it also depends like how long it takes me to get there, because
Yeah.
it's not like I'm going to beeline it right for Florida and spend the whole winter in Florida. And I'll probably be in Florida for a month or two. But if you're in Florida, and I know you're in Florida, I might reach out to you. So keep those lines open. There's a couple folks out there that watch that are in that camp. So I'll be reaching out to a couple of you. Yeah, it's good here, though. I'm still in Pennsylvania. I'm waiting for that election. I got to cast my vote for Kamala Harris because this last 4 years was really great. I just want to see another 4. This is so fun. Yeah, it's going to be a weird election year, but I don't know. But we got all sorts of fun stuff. I am taking a trip up to the greater Erie area, though, soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but it will be soon. Nice. But there you go. Let's see. I think Dan is taking possession of a new refrigerator, so he's not going to join us. And we reminded him to look at that box, make sure there's no binding arbitration on the box that the customer never sees. And so there's that. And then, of course, he's like, I fought for definitely not an LG and probably a dumb refrigerator, knowing Dan. That's what I would go with. That's what any self-respecting person that follows my channel might go with, too, because maybe we should just rename ourselves to the Luddite Club.
Yeah.
The computer file, the ludical computer files. There we go. So, and then Salbu, I'm not sure where Salbu went, but he might join us here eventually later. So anyway, yeah, avoid Colorado. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think I'll be in Colorado for a couple years. Next trip west I take will be the following summer. The following fall, and I'm actually taking a slightly more northern route. Not as northern as I did when I went across the Canadian border, but I'm going a little bit more northern. So I need to go through. I'm going to basically go through like either southern Montana or northern Wyoming, that general area, because I want to go. One place that's on my list that I have not been to is Craters of the Moon, so I want to go see that. So I may as well go through Yellowstone and Tetons again. Been there a few times, but may as well go through again, get some new updated photos, because it's right on the other side of that. And then from there, I might just head on over to California, or if not that, then who knows. But yeah, it'll be fun. I'm also debating about looking for a new cell carrier for my van internet, because the one I was working with, which was working great, was bought out, and ever since they bought it out, I'm getting a lot of weird connection issues. It's like things ping, and then like the internet's really fast once it connects, but sometimes you have to refresh the page to get it actually to connect. It seems like it's overcrowded, if anybody has any ideas on that. No, we're not doing Starlink. For people that ask, I know we got into a fight about that the other day. It's like, guys, understand this. I have so much knowledge about what it takes to run this stuff, how you run it, the power it takes. Just because you see, oh, this van lifer, or the more likely these RVer guys have a Starlink system on their hood, that does not mean Starlink is the option. Even the brand new mini Starlink that they have, it takes 5 times the power of my system. And it has to see a perpetual sky, which would mean I have to figure a way to mount a Starlink satellite dish on the top of the roof, which honestly isn't a huge deal, because I've actually seen people mount them with super-powered magnets, which works actually really well. So there's options to do it, but it's not viable because it takes so much power. It also there's also the extra cost. It's $600 of extra equipment, and it'd be a significant monthly payment boost as well. Starlink is not yet a viable option. I'm watching it. I'm watching it very closely, and everybody I've bumped into in real life running Starlink says don't do it. Everybody. And I've bumped into a lot of people because there's it's the power issues. You also have to use a normie phone to use the app stuff, especially if you're a home Starlink person and you set Starlink up. You can set it up and then not really touch the app. But if you're mobile, you got to turn it on, you got to turn it off, you got to interact with the phones, and then you have to deal with their own proprietary hardware, which itself takes more power, and then you need to figure out a place to put that because it's not necessarily small. There's so many factors involved that, understand, it took me 5 years to plan out everything to do what we need to do. So we're sticking with cellular for the time being until I see better, more viable Starlink that brings the power rating down and gives us better options for the devices that we use. So we're sticking with that. I have a couple ideas and a couple plans I'm going to look at, but that's what we're doing. And I tend to want to stick with a Verizon type setup, although their plan, of course, is still really expensive and limits at 150 gig. Although I think they have a business plan now that is 300, but I think it might be into the close to 200 a month, which is insanely expensive. So I don't want to do that. We will get into our topic today, but we're just going to hang out and read some comments now.
There you go.
So let's see. People generally going to continue to use what they always have. This is probably the case, unless something pushes them. I'm just going to keep using Windows until they push me off.
Yeah.
Good evening and a welcome, says Ivan. Hi. Hi,
yeah.
Netalite, greetings. KO2610, your number has been called. Greetings to you. Hello, Jewel. Careful when driving through I-4. Yep. Get ready to run for the hills, I think. The gang's from the loose. Avoid Colorado, yeah. What's the sad thing is Aurora is really a really nice place. I've been there several times. Really nice place. Not right now. Although I was looking into some of the stuff for the images I used for the kitty video, the kitty clip. And there's right now, like starting yesterday, like every mainstream article is dumping articles. No, there's no problems over there. And then if you actually read the articles, they're all like, the city government is filing the paperwork to issue clear out orders for these apartment complexes with Venezuelan gangs nearby. Yet the headline says there's no problems with Venezuelan gangs. Yeah, because it would be very inconvenient for certain political administrations if South American gangs were running around American cities. But being is that we got the videos from there, we got the videos from Chicago, we got the videos from New York now. Cash Jordan just did one yesterday on the same exact thing happening in New York now. I'm sorry, there's something going on. Would you tell a family member who claims Linux is evil? Just look at them, shake their head and laugh. Every time you look at them, shake your head and laugh. Eventually, they'll be like, what are you laughing about? And just bust up laughing some more. Ivan, do you have any other ideas about what would happen if a family member tells you Linux is evil?
I'd probably do a snort giggle. I'd probably just be like, okay.
I might. You know what I might do? I might be like, let me install it for you really quick. I got a USB drive here. I'm going to go down and install Linux for you really quick. And I would install the Ubuntu Satanic Edition. Say, this isn't evil. What are you talking about? They open it up. It's all like red blood and pentagrams.
I know. It's like I've got this here. I built this, and it's got an LMDE ISO on it, and I'm like, I'd be like,
there you go.
Well, I have this. Would you like to see the demonic magic that this can do?
Ooh. One good thing with the mobile setup allows you to continue when the apartment gets taken over. Yeah. I will not be looking for apartments in big cities anytime in the future. I'll give you that bit of news.
Yeah.
Crazy week. What, a client flushed something down my pipes at work and had to have septic pumped out. My washing machine fixed yesterday, as well as a bad motor sensor. Yikes. Stranitus. Well, it's again, if it's a satellite system, I'm not interested. If any satellites, Starlink's going to be the best of the satellite systems, for sure. It's got the speed, it's got the capability. It's just the equipment and the power is the limitation right now. Let's see. Hear that? Let's see. Might go see Beetlejuice this Saturday if I can get enough family to go. Beetlejuice. Is there a new Beetlejuice movie, or are they replaying the old one?
It's a new one.
Oh, Lord help us. Why?
Michael Keaton and what's her name? I can't think of her name right now, but I love her. But yeah.
Is it Michael Keaton actually in it?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, okay. If they're returning the original actors, maybe I'll give it a little bit of a pass. They kind of did the same thing with Zombieland when they did part 2. All the original ones came back. They actually said later that they had planned on doing that.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's jump over to Odyssey. We got 36 watching on Zatubis. Thank you guys for watching over there. We got 10 currently watching on Odyssey. Hello, SNL. Let's see. It will get uncomfortably cold. I've been in Florida in the peak of the winter, and it was still uncomfortably hot. Yeah, I will test my heater before going to Florida. Yes. What are the lows around? Like, because I'm trying to remember the last time. I guess the last time I was down. I guess the only times I was in Florida was February and March, which was still 70s and 80s. Yeah. And I was the one time was just in Pensacola. The other time I was already all the way down into Orlando.
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right for that time of the year.
Let's see. We got 22 on Rumble. Okay. Greetings. Getting closer to Fear Fest October. Bite your tongue. Never even voting about it. Bite that thing out. Yes, I know. Who are you gonna call? I don't know. And Windows and Mac aren't evil. Kalekick loves Zombieland. Double tap. Originally rule number 2 was not going to be double tap. It was going to be something stupid, and they decided to make it double tap, that's the epic line now. So, let's see. Family knows not to question me on OS choice, as a lot of them have found out how bad Microsoft and Apple are. Made an own cloud today. Now I'm trying to make an only Office server to connect to own cloud. Self-host. Well, Ben's Tech Room, why don't you do Nextcloud instead? Because Nextcloud automatically integrates the LibreOffice systems now. Which Nextcloud has more connections as well anyway. Own cloud's certainly respectable as well. Just saying, I had issues, like I used to run my own Calibora server, and I had issues once Nextcloud got to a certain level. I had issues actually connecting to my own instance. I could to theirs, but that just took too many system resources, and it was a feature I never really used anyway, so I just shut it all off. I just still use my Nextcloud. I just don't use the online Calibora. How's it going there, Mark? Are you there?
In spirit.
Well, howdy there, partner. Back from the farms.
Dude.
Too much?
Oh, yeah. You got to mute yourself. So I'm muting you until you get that figured out.
My pancreas.
Yikes. All right. We're going to go ahead and get on our topic while Mark gets himself figured out there. Hey, why don't I go ahead and fix my view? There you go. That way that's working, right? And let's jump on over to our article view. So, of course, this is the Linux market share is starting to rise. It hit 4.55, yo. Yeah. And so what we see is interesting. Now, this is the worldwide market share. And the worldwide market share for Windows is actually on a decline. Now, it peaked, I think, 72. No, it looks like 73. 73.9 was the peak in May. Now, it started at 69, and then it hovered around the 69 range until it kind of peaked out in May, and then it's been dropping back down. So it's not quite as low as it was at the start of this year. Of course, we did see a significant drop in Mac. So Mac started the year at like 20s, And then it took a deep dive down to 16 when Windows went from 69 to 72. But you notice the difference between 16 and 21. Windows went up, but not nearly as much as Mac went down. That means that other things have taken over. So we actually see this diversion point around November. So we have the 3 lines here, which is Chrome OS in the green line, Linux in the red line, and Unknown OS in the orange line, which Unknown most likely is something that's running blockers or things. So we might assume a number of those would be Linux or BSD or something like that, because those are the crowds most likely to do that. So we might be able to do that.
Sorry, the reason the mic was so loud shouldn't be so loud now. Is it still that loud?
Drop it a little bit if you can.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I tell you what,
okay, so
is excellent on audio and Windows is not.
Okay, I'm going to mute you again because I'm in the middle of talking. Okay, so over here we see this big divergence down between November and December, and at this point in time we see this massive divergence where Chrome OS died off. I have no idea why Chrome OS died off so much, but it's almost like people started with Chrome OS at 3, and now it's not becoming popular again. Now, there is a little bit of potential speculation. Maybe it has something to do with maybe schools are changing adoption. Maybe over the summer is when that dropped down, and that during that low period of the summer is when schools are not in session. So maybe a lot of these are kids at schools that are pinging these networks, and so we might see a jump back up in those, and if we do, we might see a corresponding decrease in the other things, including Linux. But what's interesting here is that Linux has been steadily climbing, and it did, when that divergence happened, it did go up a little bit from, let me turn off Chrome and Unknown so you can see
they're
just Linux
probably
here.
counting Chromebooks for schools.
That's what my guess is. Let me turn off Linux and show you Chrome.
That's not Linux.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Linux, but barely.
So
right?
you can see here, this is in the middle of the school year. It does start to fall off, though, still in the middle of the school year, December and January. But it dies off more right around the time school would end. So it'd be interesting to see what would happen with that. In fact, maybe let's see if we can edit the chart data and go back one more year. Let's see if there's a trend for that.
Tom and his fake numbers.
Okay. All right. So let me get rid of Unknown. Let me get rid of Linux for now. So no, it actually doesn't necessarily look like there's a trend. It looks like going back for 2 years, there is a trend where Chrome OS is going down. And then Linux, you can see August of 2022, 2 years ago, is only at 2.8%, and that's actually been fairly rising steadily. So we are getting more people talking about it. Of course, Brody did a video, was it early this week, late last week, where he was talking about a lot of bigger mainstream channels took some Linux challenges. And his video is a great breakdown. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out. Because what he did is he looked at all these different videos and he said, hey, let's isolate out some of the common things that we see. And that was one of the neat things that he did in that video.
I'm going to use a beauty filter.
Yeah, you see Linux is actually on the rise. Now, going from 2 years ago up to 4 is pretty good. This is almost a doubling. Like 2.8 to 4.5 is almost a doubling. Now, obviously still very small in the scope of Windows, getting closer to Mac, especially if Mac keeps on falling like it is. But it's getting closer to Mac. And with Windows continues to fall, and we wanted to speculate about why. So you guys want to add any thoughts on this as to speculations of why on your own end?
Probably.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you go first, Yvonne.
Okay. No, I'm thinking with from like recent events like CrowdStrike and stuff like that, and with how the more and more functionality that Microsoft is incorporating into Windows in an uninstallable fashion, people are looking at, not everybody, but there's a number of people looking in that, and that would affect their decision. Do I really want this if I can't remove this? Or what if I can't get this without having this come pre-installed? That kind of thing, the whole bloatware thing. And
Yeah.
and the reliance on all of these third-party vendors to have these software packages where they like focus so much on the Windows ecosystem and not on others, when they probably really should, so that people have options, and don't, because the contracts and get the money and such, and that they just don't bother with it, and then they suffer the consequences should something go wrong, and they either like just change vendor, or they just do whatever. They deal with it, live with it. Who knows? And then of course you got Microsoft saying, "Okay, you've got these issues. You suffered this issue. Well, we know it's not our fault, so don't look at us. We didn't do it." And it's like, yeah, you may not have done it, but the thing is that you enabled it. Not directly, but in a very passive sense, you enabled it.
Yeah. They have to start taking more responsibility and owning the fact that they're responsible for everything that runs through Microsoft, even if indirectly as a CEO and a business owner. I know this at my level, so why can't y'all figure it out? Why does the CEO have... It seems like all they ever want to do is blame somebody else. And the whole CrowdStrike thing, well, you've had a history of blaming other companies. So even if CrowdStrike was at fault, whatever, but at least take some ownership. And,
right.
Yeah,
and it's like they're just a single vendor, and, the issue was theirs, and, they kind of fessed up to it, stuff like that after the fact. But it's like, here you've got a problem that so many people used your product, and you initiated this problem unintentionally. Obviously, you didn't mean for this to happen, and it happened. But look at how many people, how many organizations, how many different things that it affected, all in one go, bang, and done. And next thing you know, everybody and their grandmother was blue screened.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Every airplane and airplane terminal blue screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that picture you showed me, and I'm looking at that, and of course, being a pilot, I'm like, yeah, I know the reality of it, but I get it, and it's funny.
Let's just not get on an airplane anytime soon. We'll see what 2025 holds, if it's going to be safe to fly again.
Well, you can't go on an airplane when all the screens at the gate are blue screened. They'd be like, we can't let you on the plane.
DEI isn't helping.
If Boeing can't bring the astronauts back, I'm not sure I trust them to fly me over to the other side of the country.
It's sad. Anyway, I had family that had to recently get on a plane several months ago, and I'm like, it was right in the thick of it all, and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, why would you even do that? Why not just drive? I don't care if you're late to Christmas. Or Thanksgiving. Why would you do that? Why would you have my nephew on a plane? But anyway, I say too much on video and live stream. I would say my reasons are for the recent changes they've made. As far as the ads, they're starting to put ads in the start menu and all that. Not everybody has Shut Up 10 installed, because not everybody knows me.
Yeah.
All my clients do.
I think Chris Titus has some good scripts as well for that, so you could check out his channel. There's a number of other ones out there that'll do things, but it's like, it's just becoming crazy. Like, why do you need to run so many things just to take basic control back on my computer,
Too many clicks. The UI has really gotten worse over time, not better. It's gotten worse. I think Windows 7 was probably the pinnacle Windows that everybody loved. And then from Windows 8.1, which I loved Windows 8.1, but I'm a weirdo, so there's that. And since then, it's kind of went downhill. I don't think Windows 10 was very good for toward the end of it. And then by the time it gets good, well, they're releasing a new Windows. Like, great.
Are you speaking blasphemy on my channel? I mean, Windows good? What? You know,
Well,
I
mean,
and
I'm
you
just
got to
saying.
understand. I switched away from Windows because I care more about privacy than convenience.
Yes.
And I do not want an operating system that's going to spy on my files, take system resources, send it back
Right.
to the company. I don't want any of that kind of crap going on. So
That
I had to look
reached
for
a
other
fever
options.
pitch with Windows 10.
Yeah.
And
Well,
to be fair, I
it-
had switched
yeah,
at that time
and
too.
they had backported that to 7, and there was even a little bit of that
They
on
had it
previous
in Windows
versions, but
8.1.
not
Some of it.
not as much as there was in 10.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, like around, I used 8.1 for a while, and I had at that time when 8.1 was really popular, I had switched over to Linux Mint, and really I've never looked back because I've ran thousands. I've ran several distros since that time for long periods of time, and I have my favorites. And honestly, nothing Linux Mint is really that Cadillac for me, like Ubuntu Mate was for Tops. Total OS today for
it'll
so
be
long.
neat to try out LMDE to see if that can fully replace the Ubuntu version. Because I might move in that direction next time I need to rebuild this, which I'm thinking, I don't know, I might want to rebuild this computer soon. Who knows?
LMDE
put a new
really,
operating system on it, I should say.
LMDE would work fine for a server, honestly. I mean, I don't know why we.
Yeah, I don't know about a streaming YouTube computer, but that's the thing I need to test. So,
but I'm on LMDE latest. What is it? 6.0 now, Debbie, and I think. I don't know. It's working out pretty good. I've been rock solid, to be honest. I've not really had much issue at all.
Yeah.
All right, I can't think of anything serious that I.
Let's have a look at when the Tech Radar article came out that was talking about the Linux market share. They proposed a few of their ideas. Their biggest idea was the CrowdStrike incident. That may or may not be true. It's just the speculation they put forth. Because here, first and foremost, CrowdStrike has impacted Linux in the past. It has impacted other systems. So we have to keep that in mind. But the pervasiveness of this and the financial cost to society of what happened with CrowdStrike woke people up to the fact that Windows is actually kind of
sketch.
Problematic here at times.
Yeah.
So they say after the CrowdStrike incident shone a light on Windows' utter dominance across enterprise in late July 2024, users may be relieved to hear the perennial up-and-comer Linux might be on course to hit 5% market share by 2025. Woohoo! Which is quite significant. So this, of course, is the stat counter data. Could be welcome news for anybody not already in or looking to get out of the Apple ecosystem or displeased with Microsoft's interminable attempts to turn Windows into a service, which is true. As you start in this, we're seeing this in all aspects of life right now, where everything is trying to become a subscription service. We can't afford it. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure if anybody else was paying attention in the last couple years. Like when I first moved into the van, I ran everything through the numbers. I looked at all the budgeting. I estimated how much it'd cost. I should be infinitely better shape than I am right now. I actually had to take on a little extra debt because of how bad the economy was in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I am not paying a subscription service for your Office software, for your operating software, or for any other crap that you have at me.
Yeah.
I am not paying a subscription service.
See, Tom would never be my customer, but that's fine. It's funny because I agree with 100% with Tom, but it's weird kind of being in my position as an MSP because there are some benefits to being in the cloud. However, you do give up a lot. And there are certain platforms that probably shouldn't be in the cloud. And this is the big secret, probably no MSP will tell you but me. By doing the cloud services, and Tom has said this, he's absolutely correct. You have to have protection for your cloud. Mm-hmm. It gets really expensive to the point where I realized I really couldn't operate like this and, at my budget. So I'm having to kind of pull some things down and do more traditional IT a little bit more, or maybe just not offer so much in my base package and just If you want
Yeah,
that, you got to
it
pay
depends
separate
on what you're
for it
doing.
because it's
So
just getting so expensive with subscriptions. It's
yeah,
just
so
ridiculous.
I run some Nextcloud servers for some guys, and
Mm,
if you're running like the minimum size of the server, is can easily support it'll easily support 15, 20 employees. So if you're talking about in a business with 15 or 20 employees and you're doing it on a Nextcloud instance, the pricing comes out about compatible with a Google or a Microsoft for
yeah,
managing everything you have on yourself.
and it's way better because it's private.
Yeah,
open
it's way
source,
better.
so
But if you're
it's
talking about a
hands
smaller
down.
business that only needs one or two people, then
Mm,
it's not necessarily as
advantageous.
cost effective, because I can't just say, oh, well, we're just going to turn this on for one user, because you need the system resources, depending,
Right.
of course, on what you need. Because the all-in-one package from Nextcloud has the Calabora server, allowing you to run Nextcloud, allowing you to run the Google Docs replacement, allowing you to run the Jitsi replacement, allowing you to run the Teams replacement, allowing you, and you can turn some of those features off. But it is a very good, very beefy package, but it starts making financial sense when you have somewhere between 10 and 20 employees using the system. And
Yeah,
but it's expensive. But the problem is, now I can understand that. Obviously, I buy
really
servers,
not
which I have to pay for every month. We have internet we have to pay for every month. There's things, I'm not saying like, I don't want any monthly bills. There's things you do. It's like your utilities. You
that
use
you
it,
do that
gotta
you use
pay,
every day.
okay?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
in light of that, we have to balance what is the essential service. Should my Windows computer be a utility? Should my Office software suite be a utility? Should the basic core of what I'm doing
No,
be
not
a
your Office.
utility? No. Not when
No.
we're talking about software, when alternatives are out there. And that,
I
I
use
think, is what's driving
LibreOffice.
people away from Windows.
All these kids are using Google Docs and stuff, and I'm like, there are certain documents that I have pulled up in my LibreOffice that, for one, now I keep those encrypted because I have the drive encryption, right? But I don't want those in the cloud. Like, I don't want certain things in the cloud, period. And that's why I made a stand a while back, and I pulled my backups offline, and I'm just, you've got everybody's got a separate partition and everything, and we're just doing backups local. And I thought about it. So, do they really want cloud? I've not had anybody clamoring for it, so I'm not doing cloud backups anymore. I'm just not offering it because I just don't see the point. You can do it another way, like is recommended on this channel.
So-
It'll be fine.
All right, so the one reason, of course, is the CrowdStrike. Another reason is, Windows pushing ads everywhere. I mean, I don't think that's irritating as many people as it should be. I mean, that should be ticking you off.
I think
it is
people are
in most
getting
cases.
sick of the data breach.
But then the next thing that they point out here is general costs. Of course, we talk the economy is getting bad in many cases. People have less money now than they used to. And if you're asked to turn around and upgrade all of your computers because Microsoft really wants Windows 11 and 10's going to go out of support and you're going to lose security support systems, but you have to upgrade 50 computers, you're going to be looking for an alternative. And, your Linux systems are free or at least significantly lower costs. And then you can just turn around and run it on the hardware you already have that doesn't need to be replaced. Think about a business that might have 30 computers. You don't want to throw 30 computers in the landfill because Windows decides that it wants you to upgrade your hardware. They're not paying for that kind of stuff. And so that's one of the features, one of the other factors. Now, the other one is it's not mentioned in this article here, but there is an increased push in privacy. And we are slowly seeing it. It's not as big as it should be, but we're slowly seeing it. And if there's one thing I think that really got more people to see it, it was the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Kick the decisions on what to do with that procedure back to the states, and then let each person, the states decide what to do with it. Well, that started raising for truth or falsehoods, for false perceptions or true perceptions. More people got to thinking, oh, well, what if they can follow me around to see where I've been? some people do that, some people don't. Of course, the documentary, something about a couple thousand donkeys that must not be named, at least at one point in time, you weren't allowed to name it. That's exactly what they did. If you have not watched that documentary, even if you think the whole thing is a crazy conspiracy theory, you need to watch that documentary because they use the same systems, the same methods I have been warning you about. They track down all of these alleged harvesting and dumping based on people's cell phone data and the apps they had installed on their phones.
Yeah.
If you have not watched that documentary, go watch it for no other reason than to see how the technology was used against people. That woke people up, particularly among the people who can speak better into tech. So we're seeing now a proliferation of privacy services. Now, unfortunately, this also gave us the proliferation of privacy paid companies, which I don't put any stock in because you're telling me we are a privacy company. Give us all of your data and some money and we'll make sure we're private. How are you any better than me giving all the data to somebody else?
Yeah.
However, if you did give your data to some of those services that offered you to remove you from all those things, you were actually not included in that multi-million data record breach. So there could be something to this. I'm just saying I don't put a ton of trust in a company that jumped up because of the meme of protecting your privacy. But some people are switching to Linux for that purpose because they're realizing privacy isn't a thing.
If I trust a company enough, then I'll use their cloud. But like I say, certain things probably will never go in the cloud. I have end-to-end encryption with my Apple iCloud. I still don't put a lot of that data from those apps. I have that turned off to not go into iCloud. I use iCloud for the extraneous features like hide my email, for personal stuff, really, and to put on my YouTube channel and stuff, so somebody could email me and it gets there, and I have that separated off for kind of social media content. So I use that. I enable the private relay, but I don't really use it because I don't use Safari. I use the mole rat for a VPN, and then I use the advanced data protection, and I do have that turned on. But then again, I do not have, like with my iPhone, there's a lot of features it has that I do not touch. I do not touch biometrics, things like that. I have a lot turned off, and I've got to back in and root out a lot of the analytics that probably get re-enabled, which is ridiculous that it ever gets re-enabled in the first place because of the software update.
So moving over, just some brief Linux recommendations. You can add your own. I added some in the show notes here, but obviously I generally point people to Linux Mint. Why? It's easy to use. It supports a large amount of hardware. It's comfortable for the average person switching over. Generally, you don't need to use the terminal. Even a lot of the GUI tools in some other distros pop up terminals in the background, and that can be off-putting for some people trying to avoid the terminal. Linux Mint doesn't do that either, although there's the option to show what's going on and effectively like a terminal view. So you can go ahead and do that. But I recommend that. MX Linux is pretty good. I have had good luck with Manjaro. Other people don't necessarily like it as much. Fedora is getting much better, of course. There were some times it was a lot harder to work with, but it is getting much better where you can recommend it to new users as well. Other Linux ideas for you guys?
Nothing for me. I've been more than happy with just using Mint. I was using the Ubuntu version originally. I'm using LMDE, the Debian edition, the past couple of years, and I love LMDE that much better. But as far as any others go, I'm like, maybe Zorin, no. But I used it briefly about 10 years ago for a little while. But as far as any others go, I'm just like it. I see them all, and all I can think of is it's like it's different for each individual. Each individual person will find which one works better for them. They just have to try a few out to find it. But I found Mint, and anytime I've gone away, I've always come back to it.
Yep. Oh, I did forget one article. I had one more article over here. Another reason people are switching to Linux. This, of course, comes down to a Swiss report, which I think some people reported it incorrectly. Some people were saying that Switzerland is forcing everybody to use FOSS software. That's not what this law was. This law basically dealt with the fact that the government said any software they use, any software developed for them has to be open sourced and available to other people. And so if they hire a company to build them a software package for some government use, that software must be written under a GPL license or under an open source license of some form or another. And so that's a reason, but also this is driving some countries. Of course, one of the states in Germany did the same thing where they switched entirely to open source software. Or was that Linux, or was that just LibreOffice? I can't remember now, but there is a lot, particularly in the EU nations, really focusing on FOSS and saying, hey, let's use this. And many of those are just citing cost reasons, because back about a decade ago, one of the states in Germany had switched over to Linux, citing, by doing that, we saved our taxpayers, 40% of our budget. 40% of their budget was going into software licenses. They're like, no, we're not doing that anymore. So there's that. So let's go ahead and have a look at our comments here. So we got how many on Zatubies? We got 67 on Zatubies. Thanks, guys, for hanging out on Zatubies. Let's see if I can remember where I was. I think I forgot to put my spot. Oh, somebody did mention here on the comments before we got too far into the weeds, since it's close to what we were talking about. CachyOS. I'm not sure I'd recommend CachyOS for a new user yet. I had an installation issue which I resolved by switching the DNS servers to Google, but other people said they didn't have that problem. On the installer, it kept on popping up by the end of the installer, I had 2 different terminal windows running stuff. And there's too many desktop environments, there's too many options, there's too many systems in there. From a more advanced user standpoint, or somebody that's used to running Linux, CachyOS is great. I would not recommend CachyOS for a new user. There's too many moving parts, too many decisions you need to make, and too much of that scary terminal showing up in the screen that you don't know, should you close that or not close that? And I don't even know what happens if you close that, honestly. If I have no idea. If I were to just close that window because I don't want to see it, would the installer keep working or would it crash? I don't know. Maybe I should go and try and install it again and see. But somebody did mention that. I would not recommend CachyOS for a new user, but it is a very good Arch build. Absolutely. Dan came in with the refrigerator. Yeah. So Dan's chilling out with the new fridge.
Literally.
All right. I have no idea where I was at. Oh, Lord. I am... okay. I think we need to... Commodore fan says, ouch, my ears. Look what you did, Mark. Let's see. How do they measure Linux market share? So StatCounter uses... I think they use like a tracking pixel on some sites. I don't know if too many are using it these days. I don't remember all the details. There was a time as a tracking pixel used just on their site. It wouldn't surprise me if they pull in data from other sites as well, which means if you're running DNS blockers or firewalls like I do, you're probably invisible to it. So that's probably the case. Kept getting into weird issues where I could not get Nextcloud running. OwnCloud seemed more basic, was easier to set up. Okay, yeah. That's true. The all-in-one is a Docker instance, which I'm not generally a fan of Docker, but it seemed to work. Bill Gates' Luggle computer IBM-compatible clone was built by a 10-year-old while visiting a computer store after junior high. David's dad was an IBM specialist technologist, aka computer scientist, 1980. There you go. Let's see. If we include Chrome OS, Android, and pure Linux, and it's vastly outnumbers. Not really, based on those numbers, because Chrome OS was pretty low. And that was filtered by desktop. That was not including tablets or phones or anything like that. That's just desktop. Partly when schools are out. Chrome OS is Gen 2 based. Yep, there you go. My part of South Carolina has kids going to school year-round. Yikes. Nothing like indoctrinating those children into the socialist ways of this education system. Of course, those usually do like 2 months on, 1 month off, I think, is usually what they do with the year-round school. There's some decent logic behind that, because it does give kids a month off in each season. It's better to schedule family vacations. There's benefits to that. I'm sorry, I'm like homeschool all the way because, I know what goes on in those public education systems. Gen 2 would be too difficult to compile on a weak computer. That's true. There's some distros out there though that will get you effectively a Gen 2. Isn't Calculate Linux? I think is one of them. There's a few other ones out there. Microsoft
Linux
cannot
in
function
general.
properly on IPv6. Can't function properly on Wi-Fi drivers right now either, apparently.
There's another reason I wanted to mention really quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
People migrating from Windows to Linux. What Tom said up front, a lot of people are looking for more privacy online and, taking back some of their freedom. I think both of those, privacy and freedom of, what they want to run, when they want to run it. I mean, you have freedom of app choice in Windows, but actually there's a thing called Windows S that I think actually moves people to Linux, and they don't realize you can disable that. But I think that happens. I think just the freedom to customize your desktop and, do whatever kind of bootloader you want if you're a nerd. I think for a percentage of the population, it's got people on Linux because of freedom and privacy. Yeah.
JRR has used the Chris Titus script on the Windows. When he said they did something for dual boot, I took Windows off. Didn't regret it. There you go.
Nice.
Okay.
I
Windows
did
10
too,
was a horrible
and then
resource
I added
hog.
it back as I realized I had to have it for my DaVinci Resolve until I get more comfortable in Kdenlive. Was that Chris Titus Tech that said that? Oh, and by the way, I was wrong about Chris Titus Tech. Confession, he is awesome. I've been watching some of his content lately.
Yeah, he's got good stuff.
So good. So good. His content is so good. I told Chris, I said I'd give him heck in the past about little nitpicky things, but I was being ridiculous because he's fantastic. I like his stuff. He did recently with MicroWin and all kinds of stuff. He really gets.
I kind of want to throw out jokes now about who you're not allowed to talk about, but I really like Brian Lenduke's content too. No, he's got some great stuff. In fact, he's just, oh man, his stuff is just getting better too. Which is good. Which is funny because he's just irritating people by just doing good content.
I like Matt Hartley. To be honest, I like some of his stuff.
I'm not familiar with him.
He did the show with Brian Lunduke for a while.
Oh yeah. I don't think he's doing Linux content anymore. If I remember correctly,
not,
I think he backed away from that. I think he's just doing like web design and WordPress tutorials or something like that.
That makes sense. That must be his job, like his full-time job or something. Web design and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just kind of scanning contents to see what's fun. I work on a deck collection desktop application. I'd love to tell you how terrible and greedy QuickBooks has gotten. Oh yeah, QuickBooks is horrible. That's why I switched to GNU Cache a long time ago. I actually did 1 year of overlap because I had all my business on QuickBooks stuff. And then I did 1 year overlap where I did my accounting on both computers simultaneously. But then after doing the full transition year, I switched over to pure GNU cache, and I just not turning back. Especially since QuickBooks, I want to do some video stuff on them eventually, but they have developed quite a suite of massive privacy invasive stuff, which is particularly terrifying because of how tightly they tie into the financial market.
They collect a ton of user data.
Yeah.
And they've got a large customer base.
Unfortunately, including TurboTax is theirs now.
Yeah.
Now they say that they don't take any data from TurboTax and put it into any of the other systems, but all of the other systems are explicitly there for data collection.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying enough.
Yeah, that's their business model, I suppose, like Google.
Word is promoting ads on launch that blocks the software I support from printing. These are enterprise users that can't print letters because of this. Really? Yikes. What is going on there?
Hey.
I plan to be moving over to, after October, I will be using Invoice Ninja, I believe. And I think I'm going to self-host, because really, do I need all that much support? If I understand FreshBooks, I'll probably understand Invoice Ninja just fine.
Yeah, there's some others. There was one self-hosted system I looked at. I forget what it was. I did not like it because nothing was encrypted. It was like,
wow.
And then they didn't have some basic functionality in without doing simple backups. They didn't have any of that in unless you paid money, but then you couldn't just buy the plugins off their site and manually install them. It's all PHP based. You had to do it through an API system, and you absolutely had to give them user data and purchase stuff through them, and then the software had to install itself. I was like, nope, delete this crap. I think
I've got to look a little more
behind.
I need to look a little more behind the scenes about who's running Invoice Ninja, and are they truly on the up and up? But I've looked at their platform, and it is sweet looking. It's nice. And it does everything, invoicing,
so
billing.
Night of Light says watching a video where a guy says Linux Mint detected a printer driver that Fedora did not. Yeah, Linux Mint is really good at detecting printer drivers.
Yeah.
I've not had a problem with printers on Linux Mint for at least 3 years. MX Linux is also really good, which is funny based on Debian. But MX Linux is really good. But remember the one conference I always go to every year? For some stupid reason, they put all of their printers on the same Wi-Fi access that they give all their conference attendees. There's like 100 of them. So I logged into their wireless just to do something quick, and I got spammed by printer notifications. Hundreds of them. And they wouldn't stop. My computer was detecting hundreds. I could have been like, let's create a document, send it to all of them. Don't do this. Every printer in the building starts pushing out, don't do this. That would be hilarious.
Or print something that just says, I like eggs, and just off it goes.
That would be funny. Like, what?
Yeah.
So fortunately, that's actually one of the things Linux Mint just recently did is suppressed multiple printer notifications. That's one of the things in Linux Mint 22 is one of the tiny things, if you read the fine print, right? Suppress multiple printer notifications. So you don't know how many printers are there until you go to print a document. They're like, oh, God. Oh, boy. You should consider using Archive for free storage. Nah. I didn't read the details yet, but they lost their lawsuit against the publishers. I don't know if that's going to happen. So, yeah, I may not have your stuff on Archive for a while, man.
If you're looking for backups, though, even though I don't currently do cloud backups, Mighty Borg is a thing in BorgBase. And I had an account long ago, and it just didn't work out. The Vorta was so simple that I could not figure it. It was so dumbed down that I couldn't use it. It's like I was very confused. Like, what exactly am I missing here? I've read this 1,000 times.
All right, let's see. Interesting opinion. I don't
It's
know what the
open
opinion
source,
was.
though.
Let's see. Windows 8 UI was my favorite. Microsoft's aborted touch device friendly beginnings. Yeah. Interesting opinion. Yeah, I was ambivalent about it. Like, I genuinely prefer the menu better, but I didn't really the Windows 8 system didn't bother me that much. Banks, including Google scripts on their websites. My credit unions revamped their site, and noticed Google script kept running every time I loaded account pages. Yeah. Went back to Windows because somebody told me you could run while true do cat dev u random dev null done. Interesting. Okay. Not sure what that's doing, but spare laptop sitting around, install a bunch over it. Okay. And let's check out over there on Rumble 37 over on Rumble. Thank you guys for hanging out on Rumble as well. Linux is so uncool that it's cool. There you go. So happy my home has no Microsoft Windows. Don't get on planes because people aren't real. If you remember that meme, that was great. That was a deep level joke, man.
I thought it was birds, but it could be translated over.
Yeah, GMG author says, Mark, if you're going to jump on a regular basis, maybe you should grab a mic with headphones. Like a headset that includes a mic. I don't know. Maybe we need to jump on and look at your audio setup, so you don't make us all deaf when you jump on.
I'm a bad boy.
Yep.
I'm trying to be a good boy.
Well, we might have to work on that.
Yeah. There's nothing to it. I think I just need to plug in actual headphones to the back of the mic instead of the computer. If that makes, because I've got Bluetooth headphones, so it's like, I need like wired headphones.
Yeah, something with loop back.
Does it bleed through even if I'm muted?
If you're muted, it's fine. There's just a little bit if you're not, but it's not bad. It's just when you jump on, sometimes it's just like super loud.
Yeah, I know that, and I'm, I need to get into this Gravatar and set all my settings to be remembered by your Jitsi app. And whenever I try to go into the Gravatar to log in, and then I log in every time, and then there's set. Either Windows or, well, not Windows. I'm actually in Linux.
This could be a neat discussion for a video. GMG, Fear. Someone needs to explain the utility of a cloud service, even a private one like Nextcloud. I've tinkered with them once in a while, but really it's just seem to add a layer of unnecessary complexity. That is a neat argument. I don't know, that might could be a really good philosophical type video. Maybe you gave me a video topic for my Saturday video, in fact. I don't know. Maybe I should write that down. I think I might. So let me just do some brief summary, and then you guys, if you want to add something in, and maybe I'll create some notes here. But I use mine personally. Why I use mine is, number one, it allows me on my phone to do contact and calendar syncing without relying on any external party. So all of my...
I think we just lost him.
Oh, me again? Okay. The
Did
show
you
is
hit
still
that
on.
cable again?
My mic is... I hit my cable again. So the show is still fine, but the Jitsi guys have lost me. So let me do what I do over there to reset that, and hopefully that'll get reset. So let me just explain briefly while I try and get Jitsi back. Okay, it looks like you have audio back.
Yeah.
You have audio. Okay. You have audio back. I don't know if you have camera back yet.
Yeah.
Let me see if...
Don't smack the cable.
We got camera. now.
There you go.
All right. So that just impacted you guys, not everybody.
Okay.
But I was just explaining very briefly. The first thing is I use my private cloud to sync my contacts and calendars, and even do some file backups without relying on any external tech. I also use it personally, I'll use it for cataloging and archiving things. So as our weekly news roundup, any article that I see from any place, whether it's a computer, a phone, anywhere else, those all get put up onto a place up on the server, so that I can sort through all those at convenience for whatever computer. I also use it to quickly share files. So like if I have to snap a photo for a thumbnail, I'll snap a photo, just send it to that cloud because I can get to that much quicker everywhere else. Now, I used to run my local NAS for a lot of that kind of stuff, just because it was always on. But in the van, the NAS is only on when it's actively being used. So I don't keep my NAS on all the time these days. But yeah, that's a really good question. I'm going to write that down and maybe I'll work on that. Do you guys have any other thoughts for the utility of a cloud service device?
Yeah, I can use mine as an example. I have a Nextcloud that I use through a service, a Disroot there, and I actually have 3 separate accounts. I've got a personal one, I've got a household one, and then I've got one for my videos.
Okay.
And I use each for a different purpose, even though they've got a slew of different applications in it. They're available for everybody. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want it all under one specific name or user. Mm-hmm. So I split them off. So I use different things for each individual thing. So like my personal one, I use I got my contacts under, and I use like one other thing. I've built my IT maintenance. I do it through my personal one. Mm-hmm. For home, I use the calendar. And I've got that, using WebDAV, hooking that up with Thunderbird. Yep. And then I got my video one that I use the deck, which is the Kanban board thing for my project management, as it were, for tracking my video production.
Cool. Yeah, that's those are things. Other things I use mine for. So if you're on my supporter network, we get the audiobooks once a month. Then those go up on my cloud server because I can set those up, assign a password, and then set an expiration date. So I set that up once, and I set it for when it expires, and then after that expiration date, nobody can get it. The sharing turns off. I also, though, use it for if clients have to send me files, then if they have like a lot of files or big files or things like that, I actually just have a folder that I can share with them, and they can just go right to that link and upload the files right to that spot. Easy location. That way I have access to everything. I actually use it for camp as well because I will usually be the one that compiles the slideshows that we do for camp. So I take that shared folder and I just assign a short link to it using my homegrown short link system. I put that on the little board, and so everybody can go on their phone and just upload. Everyone can go on their phone and upload their the photos that they want to include for that. So then I have everybody in camp taking their own photos and just uploading them to my cloud as the day goes by. And so those are some of the reasons I use mine. Uploading folders, sharing files and folders. I actually do my P&Ls for my business. I share them with my accountant through my Nextcloud server so that I know that they're going from a completely encrypted, secure place to right to my accountant. So, we take care of things there. So that's a really good question, though. And I think I'm going to do a video on that. So project management, I'm going to add that one. Yeah, that's actually good. I think I might do this one outside. I might record that video, do another outdoor video. What do you guys think? That'd be fun.
I like the idea.
Yeah. All right. Brian's stuff is just for a different audience. There you go. No, actually, he spends a lot of stuff on the Linux industry news. But he does have a couple different channels. He has one that's like pure tech. He has one that has some political overlap. And I think he does a third one too. And I forget what that one is. Jitsi, lol. It wasn't Jitsi. It was I think something is going wrong with either my USB port or my camera. which if it's my camera, I might have to be sad and cry because I had 2 of these. This is the Logitech C920. I had 2 of these, and just a few months ago, one of them I plugged in and I saw smoke started coming out of it.
Oh no!
Like, yikes! So I threw that one away, obviously. Yeah. So if I need to get another, if my second camera dies too, go buy another webcam. Lenduke. That's right. Nope, didn't work. Maybe he's busy.
Yeah.
Just don't say that over on the GNOME boards, man. They'll kick you out. That's how weird of a world we are at right now. Yeah. All right, guys, it is past 8. We are going to jump off now. Tomorrow is the weekly news roundup. So, of course, you can head on over for that. That's this time tomorrow, 8 p.m. tomorrow. Today, we in 1 hour, I have my the conclusion to the book of Haggai on the Christian channel. So if you're into the Christian stuff, we'll drop the link for that. That'll go live over there on at 9 o'clock. Let me find the Rumble link for you guys watching on Rumble. Okay, there's that. There you go. So if you guys happen to like the Christian stuff, you can go ahead and jump on over there and catch that. That'll be at 9. So then tomorrow, weekly news roundup. Saturday, maybe we'll do this cloud utility system video. So we'll go ahead and do that. And anything else? I think that's it for now. So we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for hanging out, and hope to see you tomorrow.